everyone, and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Mattel MattyCollector.com San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Ghostbusters Gozer the Destroyer 20-inch figure. Alright you guys, so this is what the box looks like. Now this was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive a few years back, and that was the only way that Mattel has offered the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as a figure in their Ghostbusters line. I actually had to acquire mine through Amazon at a bit of a markup, but you're going to see how cool this thing looks, and I think it is still quite well worth it. But, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. If you really want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get it. And this came in a larger box that looks like it was a Matty Collector shipping box. And inside, I had this. Basically, it just says MattyCollector.com, seen in a suitcase, Ghostbusters Gozer the Destroyer, brought to you in diorama. And that's because this box does turn into a diorama as well. It says that this is an adult collector item, and I really like how they made this look like a traveling case type deal. At the top, there is a plastic latch that you can grab and just kind of carry it around as a regular suitcase. All around, it just looks quite nice. I really like the look that they gave to this thing. The back side of the box is exactly the same as the front. And there it is turned around, absolutely identical. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what's inside. Okay, and this is what the inside of the box looks like once you pull out the inner tray that is in there. And guys, this looks freaking awesome. Really, really love the aesthetic of this. It looks like a marshmallow. It's very nicely painted, and the shading around different parts of its body are very well executed. So you can see that the packaging does have that diorama aesthetic to it. You actually can pull open the sides of the tray just like that, and very, very cool that they gave you the option to turn this into a diorama if you so chose to do that. In the box, we also get these plastic baggies, and it looks like they have diorama pieces inside them, so I'm going to pull those out. And it does look like this is part of the diorama. Basically says Ghostbusters is hiring. Also, here's another piece that goes in there. Stay puffed. Stay puffed even when toasted. That's so cool. The other bag has another diorama piece that has the Ecto one. And then there's another one that looks like a storefront. There's a little piece of paper that says, "Attention, fragile. Please be aware that Gozer the Destroyer is still a Marshmallow Man, so be gentle." And then there's a separate sheet that shows you how to plug in the little extra pieces that go into the cardboard diorama. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, aka Gozer, removed from his packaging because he is tied into the cardboard backdrop. All right, you guys, and here is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man out of the box. And I gotta say, just looking at this puts a smile on my face. It looks incredible. If you've been watching my other Ghostbusters videos, then you know that I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved the Ghostbusters. My parents even bought me some of the action figures when I was a kid, including the Ecto one, including some of the gear that you could, use for dress up and pretend to be a Ghostbuster. But I never did have the prized Kenner Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. This is the very first one I have ever purchased, and it's been a long time coming, but it feels great to finally have a version of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in my collection. And this just looks great. It looks exactly like the Marshmallow Man as he appeared in Ghostbusters. You can see the sculpt work on it is phenomenal. The paint is very nicely done. The body has some very nice shaping to it, with the addition of a bit of shading around its body, including the head, the arms, and the legs, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a contouring sort of aesthetic. Now the Stay Puft does seem to stand pretty well. It does kind of look to me like it's leaning back just a little bit. I may be able to tweak the legs just enough for it not to do that, but it still looks great. Very nice profile of the Marshmallow Man. There's the back side, and from the back it also looks very cool. It does look a little bit blank, like the front and the back of the torso look very similar, so it almost looks from this angle as if it's missing its face paint. There's a view from the other side, and I did tweak the legs just a little bit so you can see it is standing more straight now. Alright guys, and here's a close-up of the Marshmallow Man's head, and you can see that the sculpt work on it is very nicely accomplished. The paint mostly looks pretty clean around the eyes. That looks pretty good. The mouth looks quite good. There's a little bit of paint missing there in the corner. And where it says Stay Puft here on the head, that's a little bit messy. All in all, though, it doesn't look too bad. Looking at it from the side, there does look to be a smattering of blue paint. And I think that's from the shading they tried to apply to different areas of the body. But unfortunately, there is some right there and then around the rim of the hat. And I kind of feel like it should be around the rim of the hat, you know, again, to give it some of that shadowing sort of effect. But it just looks like there's a little bit too much of it from certain angles, definitely from the back, as well as that little spot that it has right there. As far as this little garment that he has here around his neck with the little red scarf, that looks pretty good. It's nicely painted. It's a very nice shade of navy blue, and the red looks quite good. Though at the back, you will see that it is kind of faded looking. Like there's like this white sort of paint, and it's not dust. It definitely looks like some sort of spray paint or something. The little ribbon there on his hat looks really good. In addition to the hat, I think that looks very, very nice. This is actually made of plastic. The rest of the figure really isn't. It's actually this really soft material with plastic underneath it. But, you know, as you can see, it really does feel like a marshmallow actually, but you know, you can flex. Now there are some very obvious lines around his head. Like you can see that looks kind of bad. Just seeing that line right there, the way that it runs like that. The opposite side, it also has a line there on the hat, which isn't too bad, I suppose. But if you look underneath the ribbon, it's actually like discolored. It's like a yellow-y sort of looking thing, and that just looks horrible. I mean, otherwise it looks great. It's just little things like that where the paint, you know, just came out a little bit wonky. That's kind of making it look unusual. But I mean, other than that, it does look very good aesthetically speaking. Some of these lines are a little bit unclean. You can kind of see that this one's a little bit, you know, messed up. It's not very straight. They could have fixed things like that, I think, especially what the going price for these guys was and is now in the secondary market. And you also do see like some slight scratching like on his face, and I think that's just because of the material this is made of. It is prone to being scratched, so I definitely wouldn't let a little kid play with this. I wouldn't let your pets around it because it's just very soft, and like the instructions indicated, it is pretty fragile, so you definitely want to baby this collectible. You also see some imprints around the body, and that's just from the way it was positioned inside of the packaging. Like the other arm also has that right there, which, you know, kind of sucks again, but it is what it is. I'm sure that they tried to package it in a way that, you know, made it relatively protected. And this has been in its box for years at this point, so you can't expect perfection in that regard, I suppose. There were people that had issues with yellowing though, and that kind of worries me because, like I said, with these seams here, they do look a little bit yellow in the seams, especially the one that I showed you on this side of its head. So I hope that doesn't spread. I'm not sure that it will. I mean, I can't really say. I know people still have these in their collection that seem to be okay, but it's going to be a huge bummer if it did, because I did pay a pretty penny for this, and you know, I will be pretty upset if it does do that. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that it is okay. That's really about all I can do if I want to keep it. Give you a look here at his little sausage fingers, and like I said, there is some shading applied with like a really light blue paint just to kind of bring out that detail, and his digits are very, very soft and very soft. It feels really nice, but it does feel very fragile at the same time. Get his other arm right there, and then give you a look here at the legs. It's got some information down here, and you'll see a few little scuffs here and there. I mean, again, it is pretty fragile, so you know, I guess on some level you do got to expect some sort of imperfections on something like this. But overall, I do think that it is quite good. And you do get a rotation here at the head for articulation. You can rotate both of the arms. And then once again, you can rotate both of the legs like that. All right, you guys. Now, I just finished assembling the cardboard diorama that you convert from the packaging, as well as by utilizing the other cardboard pieces that come in the packaging. And you can see that it is very, very big, very extensive indeed. And it's just a behemoth. This thing is at least a good 5 feet wide or so. And it's not very practical unless you have the room to display something like this. You're probably not going to have it on display. It looks really cool. Unfortunately, I could not remove those little plastic pieces on the inside of the packaging without cutting them out, which isn't a problem. I could do that easily, but then I would not be able to use the package to store the Marshmallow Man again. So I just thought I would leave him for now in case I want to put him back in there. But it's really cool packaging for sure. I really like that they incorporated the box into a diorama. That just feels kind of special. And some of the little storefronts there, like you see there's the furniture store and then the Stay Puft advertisement above the other business, were kind of hard to put in because they're just so folded inside the box that you kind of got to reshape them in order to get them to plug into the diorama properly. But they look really good. I especially like that one there, the Ghostbusters Firehouse, and then the Ecto one there on the other end. I think that looks very fun. It's just so cool that they did this, and it just makes the set feel a little bit more special. Because as it is, the Marshmallow Man himself is great, but also having the packaging convert into something like this just makes it feel so much cooler. So I'm really happy that they did this. So I'll go ahead and return the Marshmallow Man to the inside of the packaging, and you can see he's now wreaking havoc on New York City by causing all his destruction that he did in the film. And this looks really cool. It's really nice having him in there, but we do need to call in our Ghostbusters to get the full effect. So here I have both of the 30th anniversary 2-packs that Mattel did on either side. We have Egon and Peter, and then Winston and Ray on the other side, battling the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, aka Gozer. And I just think this looks so, so cool. If you have the room to dedicate to a display like this, I just think it looks absolutely incredible. But, most of us don't. I know I don't. So I'm just going to probably keep the Marshmallow Man on my top shelf since he is 20 inches tall. And I'll probably just position the Ghostbusters around him in a similar fashion to this. But it's a really cool set, and it is really nice seeing this to fruition where I have all 4 of the Ghostbusters shooting at Gozer. It's things like that that make collectors like us really into what we do, and seeing that Mattel actually did this for us makes me very happy, and really got to hand it to them because their Ghostbusters line has been, for the most part, really a hit for me, and I really like their offerings that they have done. And guys, this just looks so, so cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Mattel MattyCollector.com Gozer the Destroyer 20-inch figure. All in all, you guys, I am quite happy with it. I don't think it's a perfect product by any means. What I do like about it is that the sculpt work on the Marshmallow Man is exquisite. The paintwork for the most part is very, very nicely done. There are some areas where they applied a little bit too much shading that kind of make it look a little bit off. Some of the paint is a little bit messy. And the fact that it is made of this soft foam sort of material covering the plastic underneath is very cool. I like that they were trying to make it feel like a marshmallow, but at the same time, it does lend itself to being creased, and you see outlines here and there around the body from where it was placed in the packaging. I'm not huge on that. I would have preferred if they just would have made this solid plastic, but I do got to hand it to them for trying something different and giving us something of this magnitude that you wouldn't normally see from a company like Mattel or Hasbro at this day and age. As far as the diorama, I think that that's really cool that they actually did that. I'm sure that it did cost them extra money in order to give us the diorama. They could have just put the Marshmallow Man in a nice box and, called it a day. And again, I do got to give them props for doing that. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give Gozer the Destroyer a solid 8. While I really do like the product and I do like the diorama box, again, there are some paint issues, and the fact that it is made out of this softer material does kind of bother me because of the outlines that it has here and there around the body, and the fact that I'm not sure how that's going to hold up over the long term. Some of the seams are a little bit discolored, and I do kind of fear that that's going to carry over to other areas of the body. Hopefully it doesn't, but I just don't know. If this were solid plastic, then most likely that would not be something I'd have to be worrying about as much. But for what Mattel did here, I am quite happy with this product. Even though I had to pay a little bit more to get it on the secondary market, I am quite pleased that I did, and I'm really eager to get it up on my shelf and surrounded by the Ghostbusters figures. Alright my friends, if you enjoyed this video, then I do encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the 20-inch Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter where you'll get the latest collecting news and updates. And as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time my friends, bye bye.